Ashes are home, and it happened just like this at a little bit before 20 to 12 this morning in Nottingham.
Bowled in, Wood the man with the final wicket. 599 days after handing the urn over to Australia, Cook has his redemption.
It was a moment to be savoured and enjoyed, a moment that unleashed great emotion. Tonight, on The Verdict, we celebrate the return of cricket's most famous trophy. Ashes reclaimed, Cook's greatest achievement. It takes just 39 minutes this morning for England to finish off the job. Stokes ends with 6, but Wood gets the one that matters. Afterwards, an emotional Clark announces he will quit after the Oval. There are both tears and champagne as the celebrations start. Well, a very good evening to you and welcome to the Ashes Verdict on the day that England confounded not only their pre-series critics but themselves as well, I suspect, as they took an unassailable 3-1 lead in the series. The Aussie tail was given no chance to delay or upset the party. They were blown away in 10 overs of hostile swing bowling. With me tonight to enjoy this sweetest of days and pass their verdict on it all are Mark Butcher, Tom Moody and, of course, Bob Willis, who, as we'll see later on, certainly seems to have his own fans in the England dressing room. Before that, though, let us consider this. England have won this series well inside 14 days of cricket, Bob. Inside 14 days.
There's no greater feeling in the game than winning an Ashes series, and Nathan Lyon's dismissal there just about summed up the Australian batting in this series. They didn't know whether to play it or leave it.
Mark, what were your thoughts, especially as somebody who played 4 Ashes series and never tasted this sweet moment?
Well, I'm sure it was magnificent. Absolutely the wrong person to ask. I think as well as playing brilliant cricket, England reconnected with the public in a way that I don't think that anybody could have imagined. There was an openness and a humility about them when it came to the media, etc., off the field. And of course, their play on the field was magnificent as well. So a total win on all counts from the team in this particular day.
Tom, I say this is the sweetest of days. I don't imagine it is for an Australian.
Far from it. You know, it's inevitable. I think every Australian had declared that the game was going to be finished pretty early today, and it was the case. But yeah, look, a lot of time to reflect for all the players, all the management, where it went wrong, and it's gone horribly wrong because it's been a disastrous tour.
Well, it's been a disastrous tour for Australia, but for England, this is surely one of the most surprising Ashes victories ever, because the fact is that Australia turned up here, especially after what they'd done to England down under not so long ago, red-hot favourites.
They were indeed. It's a major, major sporting upset, one of the biggest upsets I can remember in sport. I don't think any pundit had England winning this Ashes series before it started, and the way that Australia just blew the West Indies away in that 2-match series before they arrived just underlined that, because England did struggle in Barbados in losing to the West Indies.
Well, let's have a look at the 3 wickets that fell this morning, because England did need to take 3 wickets, and there would have been a bit of nerves around, I guess. You know, is there going to be a tail-end wag? Are we going to have to do some batting? But not a bit of it. The ball swung again. It
did, and the bowlers did not miss their line and length for 1 second. Mark Wood, who I think has been a real find, he's been the find of the summer probably for England, right in the thick of it. And you know, in the end, he was the man that finished the whole thing off, and quite right too. He bowled with pace, with intelligence, control, and swing, and all of it was too much for Australia.
And poor old Nathan Lyon was left ruining it. In fact, I think it took him a minute to get off after that had happened. It's difficult to really sort of put into words what Australia must feel, but the elation for England and the release of emotion was obvious to see.
Yeah, look, it means a lot to the players. It's clearly, you know, Ashes cricket is very special cricket, and you know, England have been building throughout the summer. It started early in the summer before Australia had arrived. You saw a team that was playing a slightly different brand of cricket that you know, people hadn't seen, the public hadn't seen, and it was nearly like they were given a new licence, a chance to fail, it doesn't matter. Have a go though, play your natural game. And that's one of the greatest challenges for a coach in any dressing room is to create an environment where players feel comfortable enough to go out there and express themselves the way that they've played cricket all their lives and go out there and do it. And if it doesn't happen that day, it doesn't matter. We know we're backing you. We know you can do it the next day or the following day.
The big thing with that is that people talk about no fear cricket. For me, that's a complete misnomer. It's not you're going out there playing without any fear. It's when you leave the dressing room, you know there are going to be no recriminations when you go back into it if things don't go right. And I think that's the way that England have played since the New Zealand series.
OK, well, we'll hear from Trevor Bayliss and talk about that whole business of the atmosphere that he's created in the dressing room a little later on in the show. But let us start off by hearing from the key players at the post-match presentation ceremony. Turned out to be rather an emotional one. Lots of Kleenex needed. Here's Michael Atherton.
Michael, these are difficult times, obviously, so we thank you for your time and patience here. You said before the start of the tour that you had a dream to win a series here as a player. When did you feel that dream start to slip away from you?
Well, probably didn't start well in this Test match, did it? Being bowled out for 60. Yeah, look, obviously our goal was to come here and try and have some success. I think Alistair Cook and the England team deserve a lot of credit. I think they've showed us how to execute good swing and seam bowling in these conditions, and they've also batted well. So it wasn't from lack of trying. The Australian boys have worked extremely hard and given it our best, but we've been beaten by a better team.
The match at Lord's was a 405 victory for your team, and then 6 days of cricket later, the Ashes are done. How do you put your finger on that swing?
It's the game of cricket, isn't it, right there? I think we can... or all cricketers can learn from that. I think when you think you're doing well, just remember it's what you're one duck away from doing poorly. So, and the other side, when you're struggling, you're not doing as well as you like, you can turn it around. So, look, I think that's just the way the series has gone. I think England, when they've had momentum, have grabbed it with both hands and have made the most of it. And I think they showed their class in this Test match, that's for sure.
Has it been a tour too far for one or two of your players?
Maybe for the captain. Look, I think there's no doubt I'll always hold myself accountable as captain of the team. My performances have been nowhere near the level and the standard they need to be an Australian cricketer and to be captain. So, look, the boys have worked hard. I don't blame anyone in that change room. As a team, we haven't performed as well as we needed to beat England. And as a captain, I certainly haven't led from the front.
Make mention to the crowd that you've announced the decision to retire at the end of this series, after the Oval Test match, both as Australian captain and as an international player. That's the most difficult decision of all, isn't it?
Well, not when you perform the way I performed in this series. Obviously, I started this great game at 6 years of age, so it's hard to walk away, there's no doubt about it, but I think it's the right time. I think you, as a player, you build yourself up for big tournaments. The World Cup was that in one-day cricket, and Ashes cricket is that in Test matches. And unfortunately, I haven't played as well as I would like, and I think it's the right thing and the right time to walk away now to give, the Australian team and the next captain that chance to prepare for the next Ashes series.
It's been it's been a magnificent career that you have had, a long time as a player, many years as captain as well. What have been the standout memories for you as an Australian player and captain?
Yeah, look, I've been very lucky, Athers, to play over 100 Test matches for my country. I certainly didn't expect that as a young boy, having a dream to play cricket for Australia. I think your teammates, again, I've been lucky when I first came into the team, I had, 10, 11 older brothers or second fathers, all those old guys looking after me, taking care of me and helping me grow and learn to one day get to a position where I could try and give back and help the younger players, and hopefully I've done that.
Want to carry on, or are you okay?
I'm sick of crying on television, I know that, my God. Yeah, and like I said, it's the right time. There's so much talent in that change room. The boys will be fine.
Just looking forward, these will be difficult times for Australian cricket now. There'll be a quick turnover, one assumes. Are you confident that Australian cricket will bounce back?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I think we've got good players, plenty of talent. It's going to take a lot of hard work, there's no doubt about it, especially when you're playing against great teams, like we've just seen. But the potential's there and the work ethic's there, so that's a great base. I think our support staff do a fantastic job with us, trying to help us get better every day. Like I say, we're very lucky in Australia. We've got a lot of talented young players, and I'll keep the faith, that's for sure.
You've been a great player over a long period of time. I know everybody in England has thoroughly admired your professionalism and your play, and we've loved watching you play. So good luck to you at the Oval. Michael Clarke, the Australian captain. It's been 599 days, I think, since England handed the Ashes over at Perth. Can you believe it?
No, I can't. And sorry, Michael's got emotional. He's made me emotional as well. I can't believe what we've just achieved over the last 18 months. But from where we've been over the last 18 months, to what we've achieved in these 3 days. So I'm incredibly proud of the lads. Incredibly proud of all the support staff, because we've done something which I didn't think was quite possible at the beginning of the summer.
You're going to break down as well on me here.
Sorry, it's your worst nightmare.
Let's talk about that, the amazing transformation, really. 5-0 18 months ago, 3-1 here. If you had to try, and these are difficult times to analyse it straight after the event, but how would you explain that remarkable turnaround?
Well, I think firstly, obviously, when you lose 5-0, there's obviously a big turnover of players, and a new side develops pretty quickly. And I think you've seen, obviously it takes a bit of time, but you've seen the amount of talent that's in the country. The young guys have come in and really done incredibly well. It's taken a little bit of time, but, I think you saw a bit of, the end potential there. Obviously, Ben Stokes in that second innings was, absolutely fantastic. This amount of swing and skilly ball, Joe Root, has just gone from strength to strength, and alongside Josh Buttler, Mo and Ali coming into the side over the last 18 months, have done incredibly well, and they're the ones who've driven this side forward. Obviously, as a captain, I'm very lucky to have, a group of senior players as well. Brody to step up. When I said at the beginning of the series, we need, at the beginning of this game, someone to step and do something very special. 8 for 15. Pretty much not guaranteed you the test match, but it puts you in a really good position. Jimmy, Betty, the support I've had from them means a lot.
You have a reputation a little bit as being a stubborn man, which is part of your great strength as a batsman, but I think all of us have sensed a real shift this summer as well, that you've been prepared to change, to be more open, to play a more optimistic brand of cricket. Is that a fair comment?
Yeah, I think that is a fair comment. But also that's probably down to the players as well, embracing that. We said at the beginning of the New Zealand series, we wanted to show off our talent as a side, and part of that had to be led from the front as well, and I had to take a big step forward probably as a captain. Yeah, you're right, I am quite stubborn in certain things. It might have taken me a bit of time to do that, but yeah, look, so when it goes well, it's you as a captain, you're only really as good as the other 10 players.
You mentioned Trevor Bayliss briefly. He's sat up there now as an Australian coach of England, having coached a team that's regained the Ashes. Just a word about him and the impact that he's had.
Yeah, obviously he's only just turned up, so let's not give him too much credit. Yeah, obviously he's been brilliant in the whole backroom staff, and the one constant obviously has been Paul Farbrace as well. So those two as a brilliant duo, to come in, and Trevor's gone out and just made us relax and try and play our way, and give guys the confidence alongside Paul Farbrace, Otis Gibson, Chris Taylor as well. Brilliant, a real good support network. Our physios, Mark Saxby, the extraordinary goalkeeper in the morning, Phil Neal, all that kind of fantastic support we're getting. That's kind of behind the scenes, which doesn't get the credit it deserves.
With the pressure off a little now, you can really look forward to the Oval. It's going to be a celebration and a coronation there. Should be great.
Yeah, it'd be strange going into that test match a bit, nowhere near as nervous as it was, but we want to put in a really good performance there. But can we write about that another day? Incredible 3 days, and over the last 4 matches, the crowd, the support, the crowd here at Trent Bridge, the crowd of the other games has been absolutely amazing. Walking down the street, the people have really got behind this England team, and from the bottom of our hearts, we really appreciate it.
Final question. W.G. Grace, Mike Brearley, Alistair Cook, they kind of trip off the tongue, but I think you've joined them now as the only England captain, one of 3 England captains to win the Ashes twice at home. Proud day for you.
Yeah, look, it's unbelievable. That's not really my to be in that kind of class, but the other guys in there, it's been an amazing journey. So thank you.
Many congratulations. I can't think that it gets any better than that, does it? Home ground, Ashes regained, 300 Test wickets, 8 for 15 on the first morning.
Yeah, special. I want to say I've never heard a crowd so silent listening to 2 captains. I think that shows the respect everyone's got for the 2 guys who have been up here, and it's been an amazing series so far, and we're delighted to have got over the line here, but we have got one game to go, and we'll have to focus on that after probably tomorrow.
How often have you been replaying the events of the opening hour of this Test match in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, Cookie will tell you I wanted to bat, so it probably shows why he didn't listen to me. But yeah, I mean, it was a good toss to win. There was live green grass on the pitch, but the way the bowling unit got the ball on that full of a length, and I think we've talked about the catching, was absolutely spectacular. So it's been a pleasure to be a part of this week. A lot of credit's got to go to our batsmen throughout this series. We've played on some wickets that have done a bit, and to get scores on the board that we've been able to create pressure with as a bowling unit has been fantastic. So there's a lot of hard work's gone into these last sort of 4 weeks for a long time. So it's a great feeling to have regained those Ashes.
Well, if you've ever wondered what it actually means to the players to take part in an Ashes series, to win an Ashes series or lose an Ashes series, I think that little post-match presentation ceremony says it all. Very emotional from both captains, Bob.
Yes, it was. One feels sympathy for Michael Clarke. I've been in that position, losing an Ashes series as a captain, all the celebrations going on, you're miles away from home. It's not a very pleasant feeling, but for England, I mean, this is something absolutely sensational. Do you think where they were in the lead up to that World Cup? I know that was one-day cricket and this is Test match cricket, but the whole philosophy of the side has changed in a very short space of time. And as Alistair said there, that's down to the young players coming into the side and being able to express themselves and not being concerned about 1 or 2 failures.
Are you surprised by the emotion that Alistair so overtly showed?
Not at all, actually, because I can remember him being sort of pilloried and pinned to the wall by various interviewees over the course of the last 18 months. It's a huge vindication of, I suppose, of other people's willingness to stick by him. Andrew Strauss hasn't had a mention yet. That's, he's come in and things have moved forward incredibly quickly. He won't take any credit for it in the same way that Alistair won't take any credit for it. But Alistair's stubbornness and his willingness to sort of fight things through when other people would have thrown the towel in has been extraordinary. And that's where the emotion comes from, because he said it himself. He didn't even believe that England could win the Ashes series before this series started. The captain didn't believe it, and yet they've done it.
Well, I was going to come to that. I mean, it is extraordinary when the captain says afterwards, well, I don't know how we've done it, because I certainly never thought we could.
Yeah, I think that probably was a bigger slip of the tongue than he really wanted it to be honest with you. I think he and the players, I'm sure, had a vision that they, and had goals that they wanted to win the series. There's no question. He's probably meaning that, look, we knew it was going to be tough. We know we're not favourites here. Australia have come here on the back of 2 good wins against West Indies. We struggled there, and we've got our work cut out. And I think he's sort of making the expression that, look, the fact that, this is going to be hard work and they're probably going to roll us here, and we've got still some developing to do. But, wow, they've developed quickly, that side, and they look a real tight unit.
I thought Nasser used an interesting word in commentary when he said it's redemption day for Alistair Cook.
Yeah, I mean, what did Alistair's interview in Australia, at Melbourne, if it had been a boxing match, the referee would have stopped the fight long ago. It was that one-sided, and to, scrape yourself up off the canvas and carry on in the job. Plenty who would have said, I'll go back into the ranks, someone else can have all this bother. But he stuck with it through thin and thin in those days, and he's come out the other side certainly smelling of roses.
Has his captaincy developed in this series? Because we're going to put our cards on the table here. That on the verdict, we have been on his case once or twice.
Yeah, just only once or twice. Yes, it has. I think he's kind of opened up his view in terms of, you know, the declaration in the first innings, for example. He'd never have done that before. And he's seeing the game as something to be enjoyed, and you know, and attacking being a good thing. You know, it's not something that's some sort of swear word. The other thing, of course, is Bob will tell you, Tom will tell you, if your bowlers bowl brilliantly, you look like a genius as a captain. You can do whatever you like, and it comes off. If they bowl badly and let you down, you look like an idiot. And that's as universal a rule as cricket as there is.
Yeah, they always said of Clive Lloyd, didn't they, when he had the nuclear option of 4 fast bowlers. Any fool could have captained that side.
With four on the bench waiting.
He incidentally says that wasn't the case.
Yeah, well, fair enough too. Look, I think that the biggest shift, and he gave us a little bit of insight to it in that interview, is that he is a stubborn man, and thank goodness he is a stubborn man, because, you know, look what it's, you know, turned into from England's point of view. But the biggest change with regards to Alistair Cook is that now he's prepared to open up and listen to people and experiment and play a freer game, instead of letting that stubbornness, you know, creep into his captaincy and that captaincy being so predictable.
And just a final thought. Going into this series, I think a lot of people, and probably us included, thought, well, Alistair will get to the end of the Ashes and then that'll be it. He'll ride off into the sunset. I don't think that's going to happen now.
No, I don't think, you know, I don't think that was going to be the case if England had lost, because both Paul Downton before him and Andrew Strauss have identified Alistair Cook as their man, and they're going to stick with him. And, you know, his stubbornness will carry him through the rough times, and there's some big challenges coming up for England.
OK, time for our first break now on tonight's verdict. When we come back, more England celebrations as we ask, who is the man in the rubber mask doing the Bob impersonation?
Well, it was very entertaining, wasn't it? I thought it was a brilliant performance by all the bowlers for a change, and I'm sure the crowd thoroughly enjoyed it.
Hardies of Australia sponsors England cricket.
Now I'm the king of the swingers, oh, the jungle VIP. I've reached the top and had to stop, and that's what's bothering me.
Easy Peasy, the new Ford C-Max with hands-free tailgate to help you go further.
They are encouragers and troublemakers, sharing ideas about freedom and kissing and the world, inviting us to overthrow the powers that be together. They are the faces in our photos who remind us that we don't have to go it alone, because most of all, they're our friends.
What is your ultimate wish?
Let me have a really great body and a really big...
Ah! Not that big, obviously! Absolutely anything. In cinemas August 14.
New York, 2007, Winston Hotel. On February the 2nd, Jacob Shaw's heart breaks. He meets the Princess of Bol Bol. She orders a club sandwich, a Caesar salad, and a cola. But eternal love remains a dream for Jacob. Her farewell letter only mentions the beautiful wallpaper.
I thought she loves me.
If only Jacob had taken a closer look on that wallpaper. How do we know this? We know everything about hotels. Hotel Trivago.
At Harvey's, there's up to £500 off the summer collection plus early bird discounts. This table with 4 chairs, just $3.99. Hurry, extra savings end Tuesday 8 p.m.
Share the flavours of the Med, now at KFC.
For all televised Premier League matches in August, bet £20 with Paddy Power before the match and get a free £10 in-play bet. Fire up the T-shirt cannon, fella. Who wants one? Nobby does. Oh, right in the money maker. Referee! They're so generous it hurts. Hot diggity dog. He flipping loves it. Download the app and bet now. Paddy Power, you're welcome.
Don't miss Simon Pegg, Kate Beckinsale, the voices of Monty Python and Robin Williams in this year's must-see comedy. Absolutely Anything, only in cinemas.
Sound don't, please don't make me. This sound don't break, don't make me. This sound don't, please don't make me. This sound don't break, don't make me. This sound don't, please don't make me.
Switch on TV, flashback, Taylor's talking. When you gonna see me, this is...
The first weekend, everyone's back with big hopes, big expectations. We go again. So dream big.
Fantastic! Premier League football. Don't you just love it?
Hardy sponsors England cricket.
What a start. Warner's gone. England all over Australia. Oh, what a catch! Oh, they're tumbling all over the place.
Hey, are you listening to us? Steady on there. Look at that. Oh, it's a full banana gone there. Nom, 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 nom. I just told him he's trying to tune it in. Australia all out for 60. Enjoying the cricket today?
100 for Joe Root.
It was very entertaining, wasn't it? Well, it wasn't a patch on my game, was it?
Touchdown again.
Well, we would have gotten number 9, but yeah, I can't bend, he can't see. Well, there you go.
Bowled in, dragged on. With the man, with the final wicket. There's alcohol. Yeah, Jimmy. He's a little target, but they got him.
I shouldn't be laughing because it's hurt my side.
Welcome back to the verdict on today that the Ashes were regained by England. It took less than 40 minutes for England to mop up the Aussie tail and seal their 4th Ashes win in this country in a row. With the party getting going, as you've just seen there, Ian Ward stuck his head rather rashly round the dressing room door.
And Ian Ward, if there's alcohol. Yay, well done, Jimmy. He's a little target, but they got him.
Well, no down to Ian Ward.
What happened? Give me some of that rum. What are you doing with rum?
It's what the fast bowlers are on, mate. This is why we're bowling the way we're bowling.
That's been the key, has it? The rum. Come here. Come here. What are you doing?
I shouldn't be laughing because it's hurt my side.
It's not bad, eh?
Oh, it was amazing, wasn't it? Oh, what a feeling that was going around the field there. The way we bowled this week was unbelievable. Like Stokes' performance that second innings was just like unbelievable swing bowling, and just incredible. Can't believe that we've managed to achieve it.
You go through the ringer up here as well, don't you?
Yeah, it's tough watching. Especially, you know, I'm desperate to be out there with the lads, but yeah, next best place is up here, definitely.
5th time you won the Ashes. How does that feel?
Yeah, amazing. Again, performances from the whole group of players has been incredible. So to be part of my 5th winning Ashes is amazing, but this one is right up there.
We're going to get soaked here. No, we're not. Stokes has moved away. What's been the difference? What's been the key?
I think the guys have just said it out there. I mean, some of the performances, some of the lads, in particular the bowlers, Stokesy in this game and Brody, but Jimmy, Edgbaston, they set the tone, I think, from ball one. And the one thing we always ask is, whatever happens with the toss, whoever goes out there sets the tone, and the bowlers have done that through this series and made it a lot easier for us as a batting unit. But yeah, it's been absolutely. It's exactly. I mean, this kind of dressing room as well has been as good a dressing room as I've been involved in as well. So it's great.
Well, I was going to say the dressing room. There's carnage going on around us. I mean, how have the group been? Because it's been a roller coaster ride.
It has, yeah. And I think the way we reacted after Lords was exactly, what we needed to do. I think Australia showed that in Cardiff. But yeah, it's been outstanding. Like I said, I think there was real calmness, and when we got to Edgbaston, it was about enjoyment and going out and expressing ourselves.
You mentioned Edgbaston. That was a massive test for you.
It certainly was. Yeah, it's nice to still be here at Trent Bridge, which is good. But yeah, finally the batting starts to feel like it's getting back in order. But the team performance has been incredible. Like I said, the bowlers have been sort of different league.
I've got Bob Willis alongside me. Hello, Bob. How was that feeling?
Well, it was very entertaining, wasn't it? I thought it was a brilliant performance by all the bowlers for a change, and I'm sure the crowd thoroughly enjoyed it.
Marks out of 10?
4.
Only 4?
Well, it wasn't a patch on my game, was it?
Take that off. Won the Ashes. Brilliant.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. The work that the lads did.
My trousers are so wet.
I'm in boxers as well.
Yeah. What's been the key? I mean, your form been outstanding.
Yeah, felt pretty good in the middle. I think the thing about this team is...
I can't see, I don't know about you.
The great thing about this team is that everyone's chipped in throughout the series. It's not just been led by one or two blokes. Every point someone's put in a valuable performance, which has led to us coming to this point. So, I mean, it's just a great team to be a part of and thoroughly enjoyable.
I was going to say, the teamwork around there, they're throwing oranges at you now.
Everything. I'm sure it's going to be an entertaining evening, and yeah, I just can't wait for the celebrations and then to crack on again at the Oval.
Well, you crack on with those celebrations. Well
Cheers,
played.
mate. Thank you.
Yes.
Well, I'm very flattered, Joe, that you liken me to Albert Einstein. Quite a good impression of the late Brian Clough, I thought. But, young man, when your little purple patch comes to an end, I'll have you back in the dock.
Whoa! I tell you what I was thinking, that last bit there was recorded about 12:30 this afternoon. Goodness knows what they're going to be like now, 9:30 in the evening. It'll be very messy somewhere.
I've got a pretty good idea it's going to be rather unpleasant. But fortunately, the guys have got all of the girls, wives and girlfriends up there to take care of them later when things get out of hand.
Very good. Well, how much is the very relaxed attitude that has been so evident in the series down to the new coach, Trevor Bayliss? We heard Alistair Cook talk about him at the presentation. It's something we'll consider in a moment or two. But first, let's hear from Trevor. Ian, once he had dried out, spoke to him.
Hairs on the back of the neck, standing up type of situation. But, yeah, it was a good feeling. And the boys are definitely enjoying themselves in the dressing room at the moment.
Any mixed emotions being an Australian?
No, not really. Look, I'm not going to gloat in front of these boys. They're, I know a lot of them very well, and I know, they'd be feeling down at the moment. But, the feeling amongst our guys is fantastic. The Australian players, there's some good players and a very good team, and that's why the England boys should be very proud of their performance.
We spoke at Cardiff ahead of the first test. Could you imagine it working out like this?
No, look, not really. It's, to win one test, I suppose, when everyone was writing the team off. It was a bonus, but I think that gave the guys confidence for the test matches going forward.
When you went into that dressing room and you saw them under pressure in that test match at Cardiff, what did you find out about these players straight away? Because when we spoke, you hadn't entered into that arena yet.
Yeah, look, there was certainly at the start there was a few nerves, but enough ability in the group that they could see past that or go past that and get out and just do their job. If they concentrate on what they're doing, then they're going to be very difficult to beat.
What did you say to them after Lords?
Look, I thought at Lords we got away from playing our game and concentrating on what individually we did as a group, and it was just a case of not worrying about what the opposition was doing, getting back to what our game plans were individually. And I thought in the last 2 matches we've gone out and done that perfectly.
But that really was the turnaround, the shift in momentum, if you like. Any harsh words at Lord's?
No, not really. You know, I've not one for necessarily harsh words, but certainly we spoke about some realities, you know, without sort of going over the top. But the players were very honest with their own, you know, appraisal, which I think is a good sign. You can't move forward unless unless you're honest with yourself.
Alistair was quick to praise Peter Moores. He sort of put your contributions down on the back burner a bit, but that's sort of the way you do it, isn't it?
Well, rightly so. Look, I mean, you can't have success immediately like this without, you know, some hard work and some good work. You know, in the leading, you know, in the previous, you know, 12, 18 months. I think as any new coach coming into a new environment, you know, you try to value add, I suppose, to those good things that have been done before, and certainly the work that Peter and the backroom staff have done with these young players, especially coming through, has been absolutely fantastic.
And Cook as a leader, very difficult times for him, and he's come through and now won the Ashes again.
Yeah, look, he's you know, in the dressing room, he's very well respected, and I thought his captaincy throughout this throughout these 4 tests at the moment has been spot on. You know, he's been proactive rather than reactive. You know, he's taken on maybe a few decisions that he maybe wouldn't have done in the past, but I think he's, you know, we've all seen the benefits of being you know, positive in your captaincy as well.
Proactive due to you prompting him to be?
Oh, look, every now and then, but it's one of those things. I see my role as giving all the players, and the captain's no different, options. In the end, if you give him 2 or 3 options, he's got to choose the right one.
He seems a wise old bird to me, Trevor Bayliss, not only because he didn't go anywhere near the dressing room when all that malarkey was going on, but he's a very calm character. You must know him pretty well.
Yeah, I do know him well. He is calm. He's a quiet achiever. Very astute as well. You know, I believe that one of his strengths is he reads the situation well, the dressing room well. He reads individuals well. And in a dressing room over a series, over a year, people go through highs and lows, and he's very good at assessing that and getting people back on track quietly. He doesn't make a song and dance about it, but his mantra has always been, I want you to go out there and play your brand of cricket, not what people are expecting you to do or what you should be doing at international level. Do what you've been doing that's got you here. You've done it at county cricket or at first-class cricket. Just repeat that and do it with confidence. You've got our backing.
Your playing days, Mark, you'd have had David Lloyd as your coach on one tour, a couple of tours, and then, of course, you were in the Duncan era. How much can Trevor have really influenced the outcome of this Ashes series when he only came into the dressing room right at the very start in Cardiff?
It's a very difficult question to answer from the outside. All I know is this, that if after Lord's you start panicking yourself, or you start throwing your weight around, or there are heavy recriminations, or too keen to get out in public and sort of talk about things that are beyond your control, as a coach, you put a lot of pressure back onto the players. And all that Trevor appears to have done, and of course this is very oversimplified, is to step back, watch, see what's going on, and empower the players to make their own decisions. And as he said there, you give options to the team, options to the players, options to the captain. Say, listen, I've looked at this. I know what you can do. You might think about doing it this way, but at the end of the day, it's your decision. And that appears to be the way that he goes about things. And I think that's a wonderful way of doing it with people who are international cricketers. These aren't guys who are supposed to be learning on the job. They're supposed to be there already.
And is that what Duncan did?
From time to time, yeah. Yeah, without any doubt. He was probably a little bit more in your face at times than the type of character that Trevor Bayliss appears to be. But he also understood that there were certain individuals that you needed to give leeway to on various things in order to get the best out of them for the team, and that's man management.
And a quick question to you, Tom. Right at the start of the interview, Ian asked him, you know, any mixed emotions, because you're an Australian and you've just seen the downfall of your national side. How easy is it for a foreign coach to go into a particular side which are then playing against, well, in your case, it was Sri Lanka against Australia?
Yeah, look, I think it's completely different coaching a country that's not your country of birth against playing. I think as a player, you always have that great pride of representing your country. I think coaching is completely different, and certainly the experience I had in 2007 where I coached Sri Lanka in the final against Australia. Unfortunately, we came second, but I had no hesitation at all, and I don't think Trevor Bayliss will at all. I think he made a really good point there. He respects the Australian team. He knows a lot of them. Half of that team are, from New South Wales, which is the team that he coached, so he knows them very well. But, he's not focusing on them. He's more going to concentrate on the journey that he's just embarked on with England and where he can take this team now. This is the first step, and there's a big journey ahead. There's another test match, and then there's a very tough series away in South Africa.
And Pakistan as well. We'll come to that in just a moment or two. There's one other person who actually should be considered in all of this, because Alistair Cook, as you may have heard in that interview when Ian was talking to Trevor, was very keen to praise for his part in sowing the seeds of this triumph, Coach Peter Moores.
I think a lot of that hard work has been done over the last 18 months. Obviously, one person, Peter Moores, I know he's not here, but the amount of work he did with those players, you saw them grow as players, international cricket, and this has been kind of the finishing school for that. And obviously, Trevor's come in and taken that forward again. So without Peter and that development, obviously that was a tough time a couple of months ago, but he's put a lot of hard work into that success as well.
It's an interesting thing that he said there, Bob, isn't he? Because, Peter Moores has been kind of airbrushed out as the villain, and we got rid of him, and then Bayliss has come in and ridden to the rescue. But Alistair, very keen to make sure that Peter got his dues, if you like.
Yes, he was. And another very important character has been Paul Farbrace, because normally in sport, when the top man gets the sack, the assistant goes, the guy who cleans the boots goes, the physio goes, the whole team goes. But Andrew Strauss was very keen to hang on to Paul Farbrace, and he's been an important conduit between the old regime and the new. And I think that Bayliss's style is far removed from Peter Moores. Peter Moores is an excellent coach. Paul Downton described him as the outstanding coach of his generation. So you don't go from that accolade to being useless, but his face at that moment didn't fit what England wanted to do.
Peter Moores is either the unluckiest coach in the world, in that he loses his job just before the team starts to play brilliantly and wins Ashes series, or something else. Again, you have to wait and talk to the people in the dressing room to figure out which one that is. I mean, it's an odd transformation to go from the way they played in the World Cup to what they've turned out to be in this summer. It was quite extraordinary.
My view on it, I think it's great from Alistair Cook to recognise Moores, because Moores has played an important role in what I would call setting the mould for a lot of these players. And I think that's his great strength, Peter Moores, as a coach. He's very good at setting structure and setting people on the right path. And the next step, which is really the playing side of international cricket, you need, I think, that more of that free-spirited type coach, which obviously I think Trevor Bayliss is, and certainly Andrew Strauss recognised that in selecting him. Moores is an outstanding coach. I've always been a Moores fan. I think he's terrific and he should be given credit, but his role was really help setting the mould for a team that's going to have some success over a long period of time.
OK, time for our last break on tonight's verdict. Still to come, though, we'll consider the news that Michael Clarke has announced that he's to quit after the Oval. We'll ask, did he jump or was he pushed?
Hardies of Australia sponsors England cricket.
Healthy cooking happens so fast. Healthy cooking together at last. Oh well. Tell me more. Like how fast is quinoa? Tell me more. Just 2 minutes, you stop. You and me feel so easy. Rice and grains every night.
Rice and quinoa together at last for healthy meals made easy.
Hey, yeah.
Fall in love with driving again with the Yaris Hybrid, with 0% APR representative. Toyota, always a better way.
To make a barbecue smokehouse burger, you need 100% British and Irish beef, red onion rings, mature cheddar cheese, maple cured bacon, crisp Batavia lettuce, a ciabatta-style bun, and a pinch of hickory, maple and oak to give the barbecue sauce its smoky flavour. The Barbecue Smokehouse Burger.
Fruitiest, tastiest, juiciest, blackcurrantiest Ribena. You can't get any more Ribenery.
Damn. You're very good with your hands.
Thank you.
The man from U.N.C.L.E.
No, I'm not letting our car out there. It's not safe.
Oh, no.
There are over 1 million uninsured drivers on the road. I can't let those maniacs near my little hatchback. No. She might lose a wing mirror.
If you're hit by an uninsured driver, we'll repair your car and make sure you keep your no-claim discount.
Thanks, Churchy.
Oh, yes.
Bye-bye, my darling. Wait, come back. Where'd you get that bumper sticker? Honk if you what?
Churchill, depend on the dog.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going freestyle. Let's find a groove. Now grab some bread, a little learn back.
Spread it, baby!
Man, those guys are cooking. That's food. Go freestyle with Lurpak Spreadable.
No veneer in it.
The Oak Furnitureland 4-day super sale ends Sunday.
No veneer? In here?
No veneer in here.
And there's no veneer in this solid oak coffee table. Now just $249.
So always remember to ask, is there any veneer in here?
4-day super sale ends this Sunday.
The Force is what gives the Jedi his power. You will be tempted by the dark side.
This summer, experience the ultimate Star Wars collection with Sky Movies Star Wars Weekends.
Lord Vader. Yes, Master.
Right.
I'll never turn to the dark side. I am a Jedi.
And watch the complete saga on demand for the very first time. Week 2 of the Super 8.
That was grit, guts and determination from start to finish.
Live only on Sky Sports.
Hardy sponsors England cricket.
Welcome back to tonight's verdict. Here it is again, the moment at 11:39 that England won the Ashes as Mark Wood knocks over Nathan Lyon's leg stump and sparks off the most enormous party, which I'm sure is going on somewhere right now in Nottingham, and it's richly deserved as well. Smiles all round, emotion, of course, at the presentation, but the bottom line is that England have won this game by a massive innings and 78 runs, and in doing so, they've taken an unassailable 3-1 lead. They will go to the Oval in the final test 3-1 up, and they will be very determined, I'm sure, to make it 4-1. So if all England is celebrated tonight, what must it be like in that Australian camp? For the 4th tour running, they've come up short, and of course they'll be heading home with their luggage just that little bit lighter. And they'll also be looking for a new captain after Michael Clarke announced that the Oval test will be his last. So let's talk about Michael Clarke and his decision to go. Were you surprised that he made the decision and, the decision, and B, the announcement today?
A little bit surprised with the announcement today, to be quite honest. I would have thought maybe a couple of days of reflection after such a disappointing test match. He then could have, reflected on his own career after the team's disappointment. Not surprised that this is his last time as a test cricketer or international cricketer, because his form over the past 12 months has been indifferent, and he's been the first to put his hand up and say that he's struggled. He just hasn't looked the Michael Clarke that we're so used to seeing, you know. And let's look at it. He's a player. He's played 114 tests and he's averaged just short of 50 with 2800s. This guy can play, and he has been so far from that player of recent times. And I think the penny's dropped with him. So I'm not surprised that this is the end. But the timing, yeah, he could have probably waited, I think, a few days just to reflect a little bit on his own personal situation and then possibly made that announcement.
It was a very emotional Michael Clarke at the post-match presentation. I mean, as I say, there were tissues out all over the place as everybody was blubbing up.
Well, I mean, if you think about what he's gone through in the last, 10 months or so since his great mate Philip Hughes passed away, I think there's an enormous amount of emotion there. He also suffered that terrible hamstring injury, which at the time he thought would probably end his career there and then. He had to have it operated on, and he then worked incredibly hard just to get himself fit enough to be selected to play in the World Cup. And I know for a fact that the World Cup was a big dream of his. To lift the World Cup at home in Australia was an ultimate goal. And perhaps this Ashes series was just one step too far for an ailing body and a mind that probably had scaled the final mountain, if you like, in terms of winning that World Cup.
Well, Jason Gillespie was probably right when he said that this was Dad's army coming over to contest the Ashes. But here's a question about Michael Clarke, who seems to be quite an interesting character. You think of Australian Test match captains, and they're almost up there with deities, aren't they? I mean, Alan Border, crikey, nobody could ever trash him because he is an absolute legend. But Michael Clarke has never really, it seems to me, sort of got the total adoration of the Australian public. Is that a fair comment?
I think it's a very fair comment, and I think it's puzzled him over a long period of time. He's tried his hardest to appeal to the public. He speaks very well in the media. Something you'll get from Michael Clarke every time he does speak in the media is honesty. He's very open and honest, and we did comment, or you commented last night about how you thought it was great that he fronted the media. He didn't have to do that, but he took responsibility in front of the media last night. But yeah, I don't know whether it's this young baby face kid that's grown up in the Australian team that's suddenly grown with these tattoos down his arm and then had the big diamond earring. That image, I think, maybe tainted his reputation or his image in the Australian.
He was a bit too metropolitan, was he?
And I think Australia just thought, hang on a sec here, we like this guy, he's a good player, but I'm not sure about, the image he's portraying, because that's not Australian.
Bob?
Well, I've got a lot of sympathy for him. I think Mark brought up some excellent points. I think that harrowing experience of Phil Hughes' demise absolutely shattered him to the core, and he had to do all the public face of that at the funeral ceremony, in the media, after that event. And I think that took a lot out of him. And I think that, coupled with his injury, made him think in a wider panorama about what life was all about. And he made note, didn't he, when he was talking after the game to Shane Warne, that his wife's expecting a baby. There's a new chapter in his life coming up.
Well, there's another Test match to play, of course, before he rides off into the sunset. Now then, changes for England. Let's talk about those. It may sound ridiculous to say changes for England, but are they going to rush Anderson back now they got the Ashes, or do you just say, Jimmy, don't worry, just get fit?
Well, when he was dousing Ian Ward with champagne there, he mentioned that laughing was hurting his side, so I don't think there's any chance that England will risk him at the Oval. Now that the series is done, there is no need to risk him at all. And then it will be a case of the conditions, really. If the conditions are as they have been the last 2 or 3 times I've visited the Oval in the last couple of weeks, the pitches have been very, very dry, very, very abrasive. So you're thinking reverse swing, pace and spin. And then perhaps you might look at playing 2 spinners even, because that's certainly something that England might have to, will without any doubt have to do when they play in the UAE against Pakistan. So that might be a good time to see how they can get 2 spinners into that team. And of course, with Ben Stokes as the all-rounder, you've already got a ready-made way of doing that. It might mean leaving out one of your quicks, though.
Adil Rashid, then, he's been carted around the country for the whole summer.
Yes, it's a little bit unfair on him to be thrown one test match at the end of a series to see how he gets on, but I think that would be a sensible way to go, simply because he must go to the Emirates as England's second spinner behind Moeen Ali, and they'll need a third one. I'm not sure where that spinner's going to come from. Joe Root may end up doing that job, but Pakistan's strength at the moment is in the spin department, so England are going to have to look at that very closely.
And you've got 45 seconds, Tom, to tell us what changes Australia might or might not make.
I think they'll make very few, which probably might surprise a lot of people out there. I hope they go back to having the all-rounder at 6. I think that was an error in this test match in making that change. I think Voges has done enough in that second innings to hold his spot to see the series out, and Rogers deserves to continue to see this series out as a player if he is going to retire at the end of it.
Drop the captain then.
No, the captain's playing. He's already said.
Well, he said he wants to play, but he's not a selector anymore, is he?
You said 45 seconds.
Well, I know. Yeah, all right, well, we're done. OK, gentlemen, thank you very much indeed. I think we are just about done here. So before we go, let's quickly remind you, of course, that the series takes a little bit of a break now, but we'll resume with that fifth and final test match at the Kia Oval starting on Thursday week. That'll be August the 20th, and our coverage of that will start at 10 o'clock in the morning with David Gower and the team there. And then, of course, in the evening, we'll have the Day One highlights for you. That'll be at 8, followed at 9 by another edition of The Verdict, as Bob, Mark and Tom join me around this table to chew it all over. But there we are. That is it for The Verdict on the day that England have regained the Ashes. So this court will now rise and we will convene again very shortly. Goodbye.
Enjoy.
For relegation.